Hey guys, it's Elliot here with another Prismata Kickstarter update. We're at about 120K. We have 1 week to go, and we've got some awesome stuff planned for this week. It's our last week. We're hoping it's going to be our biggest week, and we've sort of saved all the good content for next week. So we're going to have a video out pretty much every day, and they're going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that. Today, what I wanted to do is not just talk about what happened in the last week, but actually talk about the whole history of us developing Prismata, and especially what's happened in the last couple of months since we've really gone public with the game and started showing it to people. So in order to do that, I'm going to show you a bunch of screenshots and other stuff. This right here is a picture of basically the first version of Prismata. These aren't the actual cards we used, but initially Prismata was a card game. It had a medieval theme rather than a futuristic theme, and it was basically played on a tabletop like this. And this was how we played the game in summer of 2010. We were still students at the time, and it became this. This, by the way, is a blog article that I wrote on the history. You can find it. Just search Origins Prismata. We used to play the game online using this software called Magic Workstation, and it's basically just a glorified way to have rectangles that can turn sideways over the internet. But this is a very, very old version of Prismata, probably back in about 2010. We made our first online version sometime in 2011. My friend David Reed drew this version up, and of course all the art has been replaced because it was of course stolen from Google image search. But yeah, this is how the game was played, and you had to like type in your opponent's IP address in order to connect to them and have a game with them. A year later, over the holidays, it was like the start of 2012, all of us gathered up together and we spent a week long, we had a sort of a mini hackathon to build an actual online version of Prismata. So we actually built like a website, and we had a full server and a client, and this is what it looked like, the very first version. And again, all the art's been replaced, but this is what we were playing on back in 2012, and we played the game for hours and hours every single week. I've been addicted to Prismata for years, but as we continued to grow and develop the game, it got more and more features added. We added stuff like replays and observer mode and analysis, and this is because we were really into the game and we wanted to study our own plays in the game in order to get better at the game. We never really intended for it to be a commercial release or anything like that, but we built in all these really hardcore like nerd game features, and this is before the game had any graphics at all. So that shows you where our priorities were back in 2012. Fast forward to 2013, and it was January of 2013 where Mike McDonald, who's featured in our Kickstarter video, first played the game, and he got obsessed with it. He went home and taught a bunch of his friends how to play it, and it actually started spreading, and there started to become a community of players playing the game, and this is when we realized maybe it could be something a bit more. And it was that summer that Will and I, we were still at MIT doing PhDs at the time, we decided to withdraw from school, and we thought it would be maybe temporary, maybe we'd work on the game for a year and see how it goes. With the way things are looking right now, I have no intention of going back. We're just going to keep moving forward with Prismata. But anyways, and so we dropped out of school that September, so it'd be fall 2013. November, we actually formally formed a company. We started like putting out job ads and trying to hire people. We hired our first server guy. We got our writer, Mike Fong. He joined us. We like settled on a science fiction theme for the game. We made those types of decisions. In the new year, right after the holidays, was when Alexei and Dan and Dave joined us, who are our Alexei has been a programmer, Dan is working on some art and graphics, and Dave working on the AI. So they joined us. We moved into an office in April. We got our first interns. We actually decided on the name Prismata sometime in the summer. Let's see. We made this website. This was our first website ever. It was just a like a company website, and we use this for recruiting. So we have all these like profiles of us and our team and what we were working on, but we didn't show anything about the game at all because we didn't really have anything to show. It was so ugly that we just didn't want to put it out there at all. So let's see, what else did we do in the summer? We got our first actual website up, which is just prismata.net, and right now it has the Kickstarter, but basically only had a trailer and a place to put your email in. And we collected, I think it went live in June, and we collected like 100 emails or something. It was, hardly anything. But we started, what else? We started, I think, so yeah, here's a screenshot. This is what Prismata looked like in, what is the date? June of this year. So very different. A lot of these graphics are sort of just quick drawings that we made, that Dan drew to just put in the game. And this is, we're still working behind the scenes on a lot of visuals, but this was sort of a version to initially get it out there. And a lot of people were like, these graphics, they weren't really feeling it. We've since made many improvements. We started our blog, of course, that summer. We added Benson, who's been working on a lot of the accounts and login stuff. He joined us, and he's still in school, but he's working with us part-time, and he's been a huge help. What else? I'm looking at my list here. So I think the next big thing that happened was we showed off the game at Fan Expo, and so this is basically what our booth looked like. And we got all these posters made, and this is like the cheapest possible furniture that you can get in order to have a booth at a convention. This isn't exactly your AAA presentation, but it was what we had. And we had these little cards printed out that you could see that had the rules on them, and we had a decent-ish version of the game. And we had hundreds and hundreds of people come out, and we gathered up a lot of emails on this little Chromebook. We also gave people little cards so that they could go to our website and sign up for the mailing list. But we collected additionally a bunch of people who are interested in like becoming beta testers for the game, or I guess at the time we were sort of going into alpha or beta, or we still don't really know whether to call it alpha or beta, because the distinction is, we're going to keep adding features to Prismata forever, so it's not like we'll ever be feature complete. But anyway, so people started playing the game, and we were really excited about them. A lot of people really liked the game, and then we lost the mailing list of like 500 and something emails that we had got at Fan Expo. And the reason we lost them is because there was this bug in offline Google Docs, and we were using a Chromebook to log the emails. And basically what happened is when we resynced the Chromebook, the file containing them went blank, and we actually like phoned up Google, and their support was trying to help us. And basically it's a known issue that had been there forever, but essentially due to the way I had set up the offline docs, it just never could have possibly worked. And this is sort of the initial catalyzing event of this crazy explosion that happened to us in the fall. And so the first thing that happened was sometime like 2 weeks later, I posted this post on the TIFU, Today I Fucked Up subreddit, and I basically like explained what happened, and I didn't even include the name of Prismata when I initially posted this, and it blew up like crazy. It got submitted to r/best of, and I think it's now, this is of all time. We are the most upvoted post on r/best of all time. And it was basically because I complained that we lost this mailing list, whatever. People were like, what's the game called? And then somebody looked through my post history and was like, oh, there's this game called Prismata, and he posted a link to it, and people started clicking that link. And people went to our website, which of course has this little sign up button, sign up for the beta, and people entered all their emails in there. And we actually, like, in that day, we grew from like 800 emails or something, and plus 500 more that we had at Fan Expo but lost. We grew to like 20,000 emails or something ridiculous. It was like more than a 20-fold increase in our email list size. It got posted to Best Of, and it was just this great story about Reddit helping us out. And that sort of made the entire difference for us as a company as we were just beginning, because at first nobody noticed us, and like we were writing blog articles and trying to put them out there, but nobody was really paying any attention to us until this thing happened. And I remember the night that this went up on Best Of, there was a party after work, and I went to that party and I asked everybody there, what should I do now? And they all told us, get on Kickstarter, start streaming, all this stuff. So that basically is what happened. We created a Twitch page, which I'm sorry if we haven't been streaming as much lately, because Kickstarter's just nuts. I have no time to do anything, but we did start streaming a lot, and I'm going to be streaming this week for sure. We got ourselves a subreddit. We appointed mods from the community, and we got all the like CSS styling, and it looks all fancy and stuff. And I'm really loving the subreddit. There's been a lot of activity, just tons of posts and people posting their streams. That's been great. And we just started like giving out keys, and at the start our server was so like it was a one process micro server on Amazon Web Services, and it really couldn't handle many users, and the database was terribly optimized, and we've since made tons of improvements. But at the time we couldn't give keys out to 20,000 people who were on our mailing list, and we've been slowly catching up and giving keys out over time. In October, we did this thing called the Tourney Hackathon, which is we wanted to build tournaments in Prismata, and we basically invited a bunch of like poker pros and some Hearthstone pros to come play in a Prismata tournament. And of course, Prismata didn't have tournaments, and the whole joke was we're going to spend 30 hours making tournaments. And we did, and we streamed the whole thing. So we had like a 30-hour dev stream, and when it was all done, we had tournaments, and they worked. And there's this little highlight reel, which is on YouTube. You can check it out. There's some stats, like we wrote 4,400 lines of code in 30 hours. And there's only 5 of us doing it, right? We're not a huge team. And I think the next big thing after that was just getting ready for Kickstarter. So we were shooting this video. We got some skins done so that we could have some cool stuff to show off during the Kickstarter. And then Kickstarter began, I guess about 3 weeks ago. We had the celebrity streamer Prismata tournament, which Kalento won, but Kriparian did take a game off of him, and that was a lot of fun. That was right when our Kickstarter just first launched. Of course, here's the Kickstarter. We're now at, as of time of recording, we're at about 120K. I'm sure it'll be past that by the time most of you are watching this. Kriparian posted a YouTube video on us where he talked about Prismata and how he thought the game was pretty cool, and he actually gave a lesson on the game and then showed off his game against Kalento in this video. And tons of things happened during Kickstarter. I could post all of the amazing video footage and of course all the like people in the media and bloggers who've talked about us, but there would be so much of it. Last week on the weekend, somebody posted this image to I think it's r/perfect loops, and then it got cross-posted to r/gifs, and then that blew up. The r/gifs post was on the front page, and I actually made a comment in the r/gifs post where I posted the source code to that actual loading animation, and all you guys talking about like me on Reddit and us like getting to the front page over and over again. It's stuff like this. When I see a thread about Prismata blowing up, I'm gonna hop in there and do whatever I can to add value to the conversation. And that's the way you win on Reddit, is by adding value to the conversation that's happening on Reddit. So I posted this source code because it's not going to hurt anybody to post this. And of course I got a shit ton of upvotes, and people gave me Reddit gold, which is amazing. And what I decided is, okay, if I'm getting all this attention, I might as well do an AMA. So, and in addition to posting the source code, I made a YouTube video. I just increased the number of balls to like 120 and just uploaded a quick video, which a lot of people also seem to like. But anyway, so I did an AMA the next day, which I think this is number of upvotes right here. It's like almost 3,000 upvotes. So that just happened last week, and so that brought us a whole lot of attention, got another boost to the Kickstarter. So that was fantastic. And I did try to answer every single question in this AMA, and I'm pretty sure I did. So if any of you got missed, let me know. But I tried to answer everything. And of course, that brings us to today. So we've got 1 week to go on the Kickstarter. Of course, here's what Prismata looks like today. I wanted to go over with you guys a list of all the stuff that has been added since our first big Reddit blow up at the start of or the middle of September. I just want to tell you all the things that we have added since then. And this is just a list that I wrote down looking at the logs. Because at the time we didn't have like social features or chat. We barely had a login system. But anyways, we added music, we added friends, we had the ability to like chat with your friends and see if they're online. We added full screen mode. We did a full graphical overhaul, as you can see, and we upgraded all the graphics to HD. And I think most of the graphics are HD now. There might still be some text that we need to fix, but whatever. We added cookies. We added the ability to like remember your password and stuff like that. We added Facebook and Google login. We added user pictures. We added reconnect. That was a big thing, and Benson spent most of the last couple of months working on that and fixing it and seeing all the bugs with that. We added the ability to detect draws. We actually changed the rules of Prismata slightly. We added this overkill feature where if you have leftover damage and your opponent has no units left, you other than ones under construction, then you can kill the ones under construction. So that was changed. We of course added this feedback button. We added the options menu. We completely changed how like 1v1 challenges work, and we added auto match. We added the leaderboard. We added the ability to challenge your friends. None of that was there. We used to have this system called tables where there was like 8 tables set up, and you could click on it and you could sit in one of the 2 chairs and then start the game. It's sort of like an old chess server the way they used to work. And of course that's not very scalable, so we had to replace it, but we did that quite recently in all honesty. So what else? We added replay sharing, the ability to have these replay codes for every replay. We added the Twitch integration. I actually added this in about 4 hours because I just thought, why the hell not? And it's actually turned out to be such an amazingly awesome feature. And this is very easy with the Twitch API. But I'm really happy about that. Let's see, we added tooltips. Of course, the AI was a massive project that got a lot of work in the last couple of months. Tons of features and improvements, and I'm not going to go through them all. We added the in-game HUD. We did a complete revamp of all of these menus and the way they look graphically. Like this bar used to be in a completely different spot. We're probably going to revamp it again, but whatever. We're continually upgrading all of that graphical stuff. We added the offline demo. That was programmed by our intern TC in about 1 day. So, I mean, hats off to him. He's awesome. I mean, not to mention all of the under-the-hood stuff like bug fixes, server fixes, improvements to our deployment, improvements to the actual performance of the game. Of course, Will put in a bunch of new units, and we've done rebalancing of existing units, and Will's basically on that. That's his thing, but we're still always trying to optimize the game to make it more fun by changing the actual units in the game. Of course, in the meantime, while we've been working on all this, we've also been behind the scenes working a bit on missions and a bit on raids and other things that will come next year and that we'll talk about more next week. Of course, what's going in tomorrow are emotes, and I can show you a little preview of them. Basically, you're going to get a list of emotes, and you can equip them, and they work in the game, and you're going to be able to unlock more by entering a promo code, which we give you if you are at Steel Splitter tier or higher, then you get the 10 community emote pack, and if you are at Centurion or higher, then you get the legendary emotes. I think there's like you can choose one of 3 or you can get them all. But anyways, that's all going in, and there's going to be a big update tomorrow that's going to have a bunch of other stuff, so I'm really excited about that. And I just wanted to give you guys this list so you have an idea of what we can get done in just a few months with a very, very small team. We are a very lean team that's very efficient at just putting stuff into the game, and oftentimes it's not 100% polished. We put stuff in and see what people react to, see what people like and what they don't like, and what features they request. And then based on that feedback, we're going to polish stuff up, tweak things, maybe remove some features that aren't working or didn't seem to go anywhere, and improve the features that people are actually using and liking. So as always, we appreciate any kind of feedback you can ever give us. And I can't wait to show you what Prismata is going to be like in 3 months from now, or in 6 months from now, or 9 months, or a year, or whatever. Every 3 months is just going to be a monumental difference in what you're going to see in the game, and it's going to move really fast. So I can't wait to see what it's going to be like next year. Anyways, that's all for today. Lots of updates next week. Please tell all your friends. It's the last week of the Kickstarter. If you want to upgrade your tier, now's a really good time to do that, because I don't know what's going to happen with regards to actually selling things in the game. Our store is mostly ready. We've been working on that behind the scenes as well, but I don't know if we're going to get it in before the holiday break. It might be a bit into next year. So if you really want the emotes, then upgrade now, and so on. Anyways, I will catch you in the next update. See you around.